But here we are, live and in living color. Hello, everybody. It is Monday, August 6th, and this is the 6th show for Conscious Communications and the Practice of No Judgment, Just Love. I am ShaRon Rea, your host, and I am a family relationship and communication coach. I work with families that are moving through some major transitions like raising teens, moving through divorce, fathers taking on the new role or the extended role of being around the children more, and grandparents raising their grandchildren. I'm also the founder of No Judgment, Just Love. This global movement has been around for 6 years. Wow, today is a lot of sixth, August 6th, the 6th show, and 6 years for No Judgment, Just Love. Obviously, we judge all the time. So No Judgment, Just Love is an opportunity for you to catch those judgments when they happen and choose to move beyond the ones that are dividing us or dividing you, and then consciously lead with love in your words, in your actions, and your thoughts. So thank you for joining me, and I want to always give a shout out to Enlightened World Network, who supports this show every Monday and Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon Eastern time, and 5 p.m. across the pond, British Standard Time. So today's topic is emotional triggers, understanding them and how to manage them. Boy, oh boy, this is a good one. I know that I have a lot of emotional triggers, and I'm going to share a few with you today. But let's explain what is an emotional trigger. An emotional trigger happens when someone says something, so let me get my notes back here, that someone says something that makes you feel angry or frustrated or scared or judged. And then what happens is that trigger takes you back to a past, to your recent past, or something that happened long ago that caused you to retreat or to put up a wall or a barrier so that that pain doesn't get touched. And when that person speaks something, or you hear something, or maybe it's a smell or a sound from a record or music, that gets really close to that barrier, bam, you are triggered. So let's get into our 3 points today. The first one is understanding what can trigger you. And then number 2 is steps to how to manage and move through those triggers. And the third thing is an I statement, using an I statement and increasing your feeling word vocabulary so that you can help other people understand how you're feeling and give them an opportunity to change the way they speak with you or not. So understanding what can trigger your emotions. If you're not aware of what triggers you, we're going to get some examples today so you have more information. If you're unaware of what triggers you, that automatic, immediate reaction can make you think that you have no control. And that gives way for you blaming someone else or the thing that triggered that emotion. When the reality is we have control over our emotions if we know we're having them. So once you can identify some of the things that trigger you and you can catch them before you head on down that rabbit hole, then you have a chance to step yourself back and manage them differently. So here are some common things that will trigger people's emotions: not being accepted, not being respected, not being understood, not being heard, not being valued, not being treated fairly, not feeling safe, and obviously not feeling loved. So I have 3 examples that I thought about while I was writing this show to share with you that happened personally in my life. The first one is wearing a mask. Okay, yes, I'm gonna go there. I got triggered when we started having the requirement of wearing a mask during COVID-19. Why? Well, I had to sit with myself because the emotional reaction to that, I didn't quite understand. Seems pretty obvious. Just wear a mask and, help yourself and other people. But it really triggered me, and I was not able to just effortlessly wear that mask. So in going in to figure out what my emotion was behind that, I recall being silenced as a woman and as a young girl. I had a lot to say. And I remember many people, teachers, and in my business wanting to silence me. So that mask represented that emotion from my past. Another one was some person in my life who was very special to me would usually say, directed at me, well, everybody knows that. Making a statement that I heard was, everybody's smart except for you. And so that would trigger me big time. And when I looked back at the emotion, I realized I was feeling judged, like I didn't know things. And of course I know things. So the third one is when we're trying to move through things and you're trying to figure out stuff and people just say, well, just get over it. Just let it go. Well, that's a trigger for me as well, because that's a disregard to me that I have something to work out. It's just not even understanding who I am. So hopefully that gives you a little information. Now let's get into the steps of how to move through those emotional triggers when you have them. The first thing to do is to recognize, if you can ahead of time, but even if you're in the emotional trigger, that, oh my goodness, I'm having an emotional trigger. So let me pause. You know, we're in a microwave world. We're in a world that thinks fast, goes fast, and we don't give ourselves permission to do that very important thing of pausing in our conversations and allowing ourselves to figure out how we want to respond or not. So the first thing to do is to pause and recognize you're in an emotional trigger. The next thing to do is to try and get yourself relaxed, maybe breathe. This may take a few seconds or this may take a little while. Give yourself permission to tell that person, hold on a minute, I think I've been triggered, so I just need a moment to recover. So once you relax, now you can move from that fight, fright, or freeze reaction that we have when we're triggered and when we're feeling like we're in danger. The third thing to do is to recognize where you're avoiding standing up for yourself, where you're avoiding being confident in yourself. And here are some areas, 6 of them, that we often use to avoid confrontation. Getting angry, feeling needy when somebody has triggered us, becoming a people pleaser. Oh, okay, I'll just do it. Shutting down or withdrawing when someone has triggered you, or blaming when they have triggered you. And then the one that we may not realize is turning to addictions. Now, addictions, and that's to cover up our feelings, obviously. And usually we understand an addiction being, an eating disorder or drugs or alcohol. But some other addictions are exercising too much, or working too much, or going shopping too much, or gambling. And so the last thing is, once you've paused, you've relaxed a little bit, you've identified where you're not going to avoid, now you get to reframe your game. You get to decide what truth you want to tell yourself that you have had in the past that allows you to say, for me in particular, hey, I do have a voice. Put on that mask, I'm okay. And yeah, you can say whatever you want about everybody knows that, because I know I'm smart too. And you can say, let it go. And it doesn't trigger me anymore because I know I need a process to go through it. So number 3 is using I statements and increasing your feeling words. Do you know what an I statement is? In my work as a family relationship coach, when I work a lot with parents that are raising teenagers, there's a lot of discipline that has to happen. There are a lot of things that your children may do inadvertently and maybe sometimes on purpose to cause you to be triggered, to have a hurt feeling. And so in raising our children, one of the things that's important for us as parents is to model behaviors that we want our children to know and to grow up and be able to use in their lives. And one of those behaviors we want to model when we have been triggered is letting that other person know what happened with us. And so when you want to give someone information, if you start saying, well, you did this and you did that, well, now you're putting up a wall and an opportunity for them to fight back. So rather than placing the words on you did, you want to put it on yourself. So you're now really talking about your feelings and how you responded to what happened. And that gives that person an opportunity, if they choose, to listen more openly to you because they're not being accosted. So an I statement are 4 statements that you make. The first one is, I feel. Oops, where'd my notes go? There we are. Sorry, the first one is, I have a problem. I have a problem. So you're letting that person know that what just happened, what they just said, didn't quite fit for you, but you're not accusing them. You're just letting them know how you feel. The second thing is, let them know how you feel. And this is why it's important to increase your feeling words. And I'll give you some examples in just a minute. So I have a problem with, I feel this way because, and then you want to ask them to do something. Because now you've identified what happened, you've identified how you feel. Now, what do you want to do with that? So now if you choose, you can just stop at those 2, letting them know how you feel. Or you can go to the third step, which is, I would like you to consider whatever that is. And then you want to get a confirmation that they heard you. Are you willing to consider that? Give it an open, not just say, you need to do this. Giving an opening for them to come walk this conversation with you. So that is an I statement. I have a problem with, I feel this way because, I would like you to consider whatever it is you want them to do, and are you willing to do that? So now increasing those feeling words. So when you say I feel, well, we have stock ones, right? I feel angry, I feel hurt. And that gives people some information, but not enough. Not enough, excuse me. What if you used words like, I feel accepted, or I feel refreshed, I feel gutsy, ha-ha. I feel, relieved or curious. And then on the opposite side, how about I feel hopeless? I feel cautious. I feel resentful. I feel anxious, or I feel trapped. Those words are way more descriptive. Not only will they help you understand your feelings and describing them to someone else, but especially when you're raising your young people or your children in general. If they have a wider vocabulary to explain to you how they're feeling, now you know how to really help them. So thank you. That is emotional triggers. And we always end with a quote. And today I wanted to use a no judgment, just love quote, but I found one that fit this topic a little more than one that I had immediately. And that is from Steve Maraboli. I don't know if you know him, but I enjoy a lot of his quotes. And he says, don't let another day go by where your dedication to other people's opinions is greater than the dedication to your own emotions. Journey through your day without attachment to the validation of others, without attachment to what the others say that trigger you. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a fantastic week. Watch out for your emotional Watch out for your emotional triggers. And please do feel willing to come back and watch this video more. I have it on my YouTube channel, and the link will be in Facebook and YouTube, everywhere. So have a wonderful day. Enjoy. Watch out for those emotional triggers. Use no judgment, just love all the time so you can make every word count. Bye now.